All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy New Week to you out there. Hope you guys are having a great one. So, back as usual to let you know what's happening with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, the camp continues to grow bigger and bigger, by the minute. And right now, we have like 10 players who have already showed up in camp, including the likes of Kevin Bassi, Alex Iwobi, Samuel Chukwueze, Towa Rokodare, Olakunle Olusegun, Wilfred Ndidi, Moses Simon, Chus Ekong, Benjamin Frederick, and Chidozie Awazim. So these are the 10 guys that are now in camp as Coach Shell aims to start the training today, later in the evening, ahead of that very crunch tie in the World Cup qualifying series on the 13th, effectively on Thursday. Because when we say 13th, it seems like it's too far away, but the match is this week, you know. So according to the updates from the camp, they are expecting at least 11 more players to show up in camp to make them 21. Those players haven't been mentioned or haven't been listed, but we expect the likes of Osimhen and Lukman to be among these 11 players that will show up today, and hopefully they will get in time, before the evening to join the rest of the guys to have their first training. Victor Osimhen, of course, I mentioned yesterday, had his match. Unfortunately, they lost 1-0. But after that match, he was seen to be visibly hurrying when he was passing through the Galatasaray, uh, the the interview session where the journalists would usually wait for the players and ask them questions, and also get signed. Their jerseys get signed as well. So Osimhen was hurrying past that corridor and he couldn't wait. He was saying that he had to catch a flight, he has to travel. And of course, this just shows you how committed this man is to the team, how much it means to him to be one of the first people to show up in camp, because he knows that there's a serious business, to attend to. Despite coming off a disappointing match where they lost, he still has his mind set to that one. So he's definitely uh, going to be in camp before this evening today, by the grace of God. So that's what's happening. Of course, there's been some other extras happening around in and around the camp. If you take a look at the social media handle of some of our players, you would see that there's a spreading clip right now. I think it was taken by Alex Iwobi, who shared it on his social media. The surrounding of the hotel that they've been lodged, in Morocco right now, and it's not looking good. It's looking very unkept. Very uh not very very good. Let me just put it like that. And this has obviously sparked a lot of reactions online. People are saying, what is happening why will NFF go and look for an accommodation in a hotel that's in this neighborhood? But I mean, it will be, or any of the guys have not shared images or clips inside the hotel, because uh, what's going around right now, especially from an unknown NFF person, is that the hotel is actually a nice hotel. It's one of the best. That's what they are saying. So we should disregard the clips going around, about the nature of the dilapidated and dirty buildings around that hotel. That is actually a very nice hotel. It's called the Rive Hotel. They're saying it's a five-star hotel. So uh, people should not think that they didn't give the boys the best of accommodation. That's basically what's going on. But it's hard to believe, especially as an observer, or as a Nigerian or a fan who is watching from afar and you're seeing these clips. You would think that, I mean, the hotel is also as bad as the ones that that is around the surrounding of the hotel. But let's just move past that, guys, and talk about what um, J. Okocha has come out to say. Of course, JJ Okocha was speaking recently in a show, and he was asked what he thinks about the Super Eagles, chances of qualifying for the World Cup, and he said it very clearly that He's actually the worst person to ask this question because he would never want to be very objective, and go against the Super Eagles. He would always want to say something that would be sentimental, in a way to support the team. But he goes on to summarize that he thinks that the Super Eagles can, get the job done. He says that he trusts the team and he believes that it's possible because they've gotten this far, despite the disappointment that came about early on in the qualifiers. But that they've since that they've gotten this far, found the spirit to get this far. He feels that they can also find the strength to get the job done. But this is his own word. He said, I'm the worst person to ask this question because I can never see anything against the national team. Once there is a glimmer of hope, of course, I will believe that that is the beauty of football. Sometimes you have to do it the hard way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I still trust this team. I still believe it's possible. We put ourselves in this situation and we are the only ones who can bring ourselves out of it. The thing is, the players feel it the most. It's their job. They don't have any other job at the moment. So, of course, they would all love to play in the World Cup. They also know how disappointed our fans would be if they don't make it. So, that's the little bit of word coming from Austin JJ Okocha recently when he had a sit down conversation with the exchange with FS. Of course, more stories will be coming out in the coming hours. Hopefully, we get to see majority of the boys arrive the Morocco camp today, and in the evening they will step out to have their first training session ahead of the Thursday game, and it's going to start routinely as always. They will first of all be checked, physically, do some physical examination to be sure that the players that arrive there in good physical, mental, psychological health to train, to be involved in the process. And then they are going to do drills, do some gym workouts and all of that before they'll step out properly to train, on the pitch.
I have to travel. I have to travel, please.
What do you think about the offside position?
What?
Offside position.
Oh, the game has happened. It has happened. It's not working. No, hold on. Excuse me. I moved on from that now. Now I focus on my national team.